My entitled Karen of a coworker intentionally gives me low scores on my work just to try and prevent me from getting any kind of bonus. And after dealing with this for months, me and the rest of my coworkers file over 200 complaints, basically stating that she is rigging the system and trying to get us all in trouble. And as a result, this entitled Karen got fired and the morale of my group instantly went up. And I've never been more satisfied with this type of revenge in my life. Here's what happened. So for a bit of context, I have been working in this health insurance company for the past 3 years. I recently took another position with better hours and better pay, but this time it was to coordinate appointments with doctors and specialists. My metrics were always great, and the reason I was selected for the new position was due to my metrics and all the accomplishments I had. This has been brewing since October of 2022. We used to have a coworker who we will call Karen for the sake of anonymity. This entitled Karen is the old lady that thinks she knows it all, and everything she says is right, and she often blames everything on someone else, which is just your typical Karen activity. The first time I interacted with her was back in October, when I messaged her via our work chat because she messed up prior authorization for a patient, and the doctor's office was calling to have the person that created the authorization fix the issue. So I said to her, "Hi, good morning. I have the doctor's office calling requesting to speak with you in regards to a prior authorization that looks incomplete." This entitled Karen immediately has an attitude with me. She says, "And you couldn't help them? This is a call center. You're supposed to help. And I don't even know who the doctor is. Please." I said to him, "You're correct that this is a call center. However, you created the authorization. And as you know, I cannot fix authorizations that were not created by me. And also, they will like to speak with you specifically." And with that, I provided her the patient's number as well as the medical doctor's office phone number. She says, "Well, I'm not available to talk to them, so I can't do it." So I just said to her, "Okay." I went back to the call and I specifically told the doctor's office what she had said, including the fact that she's not available to talk, but hopefully she will call them back to fix the issue. I also sent a direct message to my supervisor with a screenshot of our conversation, and I simply said to them that this is unprofessional, especially in an environment like ours. Fast forward to the start of the year, and the entitled Karen took a position in our quality assurance department due to them being understaffed. Now, I used to work in that department, and I knew the ins and outs, and I knew that she would be assigned to our department since she already had experience. Now, for some further context, our quality assurance gives us scores out of 100, and if we miss something, we get points deducted. And in January, I got my first bad score in almost 3 years in the company. I received a 56. I was literally astonished because it is the first time I've ever had a bad score, but I also wanted to make sure that this score was correct. Our company gives us the choice to listen to our calls just to be sure that the quality agent didn't make some kind of mistake. I listened to my call and I did everything right. I completed the information, I provided good service, and I asked if the patient needed assistance with anything else and provided the closing script. On the quality note, it was stated that I didn't offer any help and that I missed all these other things. I sent it to my supervisor and he stated that when I offered the closing script, the patient asked me something and I replied and disconnected the call. But I said to them, "Okay," I still said the closing script, and his question and my answer lasted literally 5 seconds. My supervisor still went to this entitled Karen and managed to fix the score to a 95% because she felt like I didn't provide a survey. If someone has worked in a call center, you know that metrics are everything, and one bad thing will quickly not get your monthly bonuses, and on top of that, we get our butts handed to us by the management team because, well, if we don't achieve the metrics, we don't get bonuses. I took screenshots of our conversation and I saved it on a file. I then sent it to my personal email since I know our IT department is known for deleting anything that is not working in the system or appropriate. Fast forward to April 18th, and I had received several scores ranging from 85 to 80% and only one 100% score. The 100% score is something that I received because the entitled Karen was the one who audited my call, and the other person found everything fine, but the 85% looked really fishy since the first thing you see is the patient's name, so I just quickly remembered the call because the person was funny and I enjoyed the call. I listened to the call and of course, I did everything perfectly. However, Karen put on the system that she's deducted 10 points for not telling the patient that he had a copay for the visit and another 5 points for extending the call. I mean, what does that even mean? I contacted my supervisor and I let him know of what had happened. However, I didn't receive a response. I was so confused. I sent a message to a coworker who told me that they have been having the same issue with this entitled Karen, who has been giving inaccurate audits, and the department has not been achieving their monthly goal because of it. Since my supervisor didn't reply, I did what everyone else does when management doesn't reply. I messaged this entitled Karen, and I sent her a message that just said, "Hey, I have seen some inaccuracies in the audits, and I would like to know if you could recheck them since I listened to the calls and everything was done perfectly." The reply I received was her saying, "All audit scores are final and it cannot be appealed." Now, I knew that this was a lie, since I worked with quality assurance before, and I know it could be changed. I replied by saying, "You know I worked in that department for 1 year, and I know it can be rechecked and reversed, right?" The entitled Karen said, "Your previous position is irrelevant in this matter. If you don't like the score, you can go ahead and submit a complaint to my supervisor." When she said that, I said, "Okay, have a good day," and I did exactly just that. And this is when my malicious compliance came in. Now, I didn't just create one formal complaint. I created one complaint for each time she scored me incorrectly, and not only that, but I also told my 19 coworkers what she said, and I advised them that if they would like their scores overturned and rechecked, they could send a complaint to her supervisor, but only send one complaint per bad score. Also, I told them that we don't just get one audit a month. No, we get audited 10 times per month. In the span of 24 hours, her supervisor must have received over 200 complaints from our department complaining about one entitled Karen. The first complaint was mine with the entitled Karen's conversation saying that all decisions were final and she can't recheck or overturn any of them. And also her saying that we need to submit a complaint to her supervisor. Her supervisor sent a message saying that they will evaluate all the complaints as well as the scores, and we will be receiving a message. That was on Monday the 17th, and on Tuesday we didn't get any messages. Wednesday comes around and I couldn't go to work due to an illness. But on 4/20, I received a message from her supervisor stating that my scores have been reviewed and properly scored, and also stating that my supervisor will be under investigation because any complaint should be submitted to his manager, and he never submitted anything, and that the employee that had done this was terminated. The icing on the cake is that when I logged into our chat and I was looking at the entitled Karen's photo, I saw that she had no pictures, and instead of her name, it said unknown user. And now, because she is gone, the morale of the group is better, and I hope that we don't have any issues like this ever again. That Karen was so far out of line, it's not even funny. Like, seriously, she was intentionally giving you bad scores just because she had some kind of chip on her shoulder towards you and everybody else. And this was all over an issue that she literally started and something that she could have easily solved if she was just a little bit nicer. So honestly, have fun in the unemployment line. People like that are so miserable to deal with, and I'm so glad to hear that the original poster got some serious revenge. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. My husband is absolutely convinced that I am cheating, and despite taking so many precautions to prove to him that no, I am not cheating, there's no way I could do that, he still doesn't believe me, and I seriously don't know what to do. So my husband and I have been together for about 6 years. The last couple of months, my husband has been really skeptical of me. He keeps accusing me of doing things behind his back, stating that I've been cheating on him, even though I would never do that. I work from home and I leave our home maybe once a week for groceries or just other random chores. Other than that, I don't do much. I'm either working or laying in bed on my phone, waiting for him to come home. He has full access to my phone if he ever asked, and we have security cameras in our home, so he can see what I'm doing throughout the day, and he would be able to see exactly who's over here if I ever did bring somebody over, and we would be able to talk about it if he had questions. But for some reason, he has it in his head that I'm hiding something. I have never given him any reason to believe I would do that. I even go out of my way to avoid speaking to other men. If he comes up to me while I'm texting somebody, I allow him to read what I'm saying. If I'm on a call, I tell him exactly who I'm with. If I'm going somewhere, we have each other's locations through the Life 360 app, so he can see where I've been. This morning while I was working, I caught him trying to set up a hidden camera in our closet. I guess he wanted to see if he could catch me doing something, and when I asked him, he just blew up on me. He started yelling at me, but then actually refused to talk about what was wrong. I just don't get it. He was never like this. It's just this last month or so that he's been acting crazy. I don't suspect that he's cheating, so I don't think he's acting out because of his own actions. I try to talk to him to see what I can do to ease his mind, but he won't let me or even open up to me. I just can't wrap my head around this situation, and I seriously don't know what to do. This is seriously awful. Like, this guy is basically saying, "Oh, you're not cheating on me? Prove to me that you're not cheating on me." Like, what does that even mean? How can you possibly go out of your way to show, hey, I'm still with you? Like, this is an impossible task, all because of some weird paranoia that he has. And this is not okay, and it's also not the original poster's fault. They literally work from home and there's cameras all over the place. Like, if he wanted to, he could probably clock everything that she does in a given day. And it really seems like no matter how hard you try to defend yourself, it will literally never be enough. He will always have some kind of issue with you, and he will always be like, no, you're cheating on me, I can tell. Even though you've never left the house all day because you've been working. Like, this guy sounds crazy. He sounds delusional, and it sounds like he might need to see like a doctor. And I know you said, oh, well, I don't think he's cheating on me, but you know what? A lot of times people like this, when they start accusing their partner out of nowhere, like, hey, you're cheating, not me, they're clearly projecting, and his paranoia is just off the charts. So if I was in your shoes and I was being accused of cheating and all these other baseless accusations were being thrown my way, I would absolutely not take that. I would say something to him and tell him that he needs to pump his brakes. The way he's acting is really awful, and it's not fair for you in the slightest, especially because you haven't done anything wrong. I mean, you've taken every step necessary just to give him peace of mind. I mean, what else can you possibly do to prove that you're not cheating, besides maybe spending every day with him at his job and just sit in the corner and watch him work? But even then, he'll probably come up with a reason as to why you're supposedly cheating. So hopefully some kind of conversation or some kind of solution can happen between the two of you. This is not normal behavior, and this is honestly, in my opinion, only going to cause friction between the two of you. My husband hid a relationship that he had with this new female coworker, and he did this for months, and I seriously am so upset, and I really don't know what to do. So I found out that my husband has a female coworker that he's worked with for months when our mutual friend brought it up while at our house. I didn't think much of it at the time, just surprised that he never brought it up, as we talk about his work frequently. Later that evening, I asked about her, and he was very vague and said that all the girls who work there are lesbians. I said that's not what I was asking, and I was curious why he never brought her up before, but he responded by saying that it just never came up. So I asked to see her, and I went to my Facebook page to look her up, and when he sat up, he said to me, I'll look her up, which I didn't pay much attention to at the time, but it is important to note. I looked at her profile and I saw that she was in a relationship with a man, and then he proceeded to tell me that she recently got divorced and she has 2 kids. So I said to him, so you knew that she wasn't a lesbian. Why would you say that? Also, while looking at her profile and speaking with him, he started to breathe really heavily, like he had just run a marathon, but we were literally just sitting on the couch. I asked if he was okay because he seems really nervous about something. He then said that I was frustrating him, but he has never acted like that before when he was frustrated. He also told me about how they spoke of me, and she even asked her boyfriend about me, but she never came up when he was just speaking with me. A few days later, I felt like he was hiding something, so after a little bit of digging, I found out that they were Facebook friends at one point, and that's when he finally confessed to her sending him a Facebook request, to which he accepted, but he deleted her right before showing me her profile, which is why he said he was acting funny. But it was days of me asking him to just be honest and feeling like he was hiding something from me before I finally took it into my own hands. I even sat him down and said, I know you're hiding something. Please just be honest with me. And he said that there's nothing. So you can see where my trust was kind of broken in pieces at that point. I'm really having a hard time forgiving him and forgetting about this. He was acting like a cheating husband. He said he deleted her because he knew it would upset me. I asked him why he would accept it in the first place if he thought it would upset me, and he said that he just didn't know. I know, statistically speaking, that men are more likely to cheat when women are postpartum or when there's a life change or a financial issue of some kind. And right now, we are currently having a trifecta. I just can't seem to get it out of my head that there's something going on that he's not telling me. His main argument is to state that he would never have time to cheat on me. Like, okay, that's reassuring. He's also made a few comments lately about my postpartum body, and his comments are just meant as jokes, as he put it, and that he didn't mean it in any kind of way. I keep asking him if there's more, but I really just don't believe him when he says no, because that's what he said the first time. Also, as a side note, this other lady recently broke up with her boyfriend, and when I brought it up, he was smiling and said, oh, she did? I said to him, why are you smiling about it? And he said, it's because I give him a hard time and he thinks it's funny. This is all so very frustrating and I seriously don't know what to do. I like how he said, oh, I just deleted her right away because I knew it would upset you. Well, if this guy knew this was going to upset you, he would not have accepted her in the first place. He would have said, sorry, but I'm in a relationship and I'm married and I'm not accepting friend requests from people from work. Or even just talking to his wife about it and being like, hey, I have this new female coworker that I really want to be friends with on Facebook. Are you cool with that? Let's talk about it. Instead, he decided to hide it, and now all these suspicions are coming up. So I don't blame the original poster for feeling the way that she does. So some serious changes really need to come from your husband, if anything ever is to come from this, because the way he's acting is unfair, and you definitely deserve a lot better than this kind of treatment. My sister and I just found out that we have a half-brother that my parents have known about my entire life, but have chosen to keep it a secret, and now I seriously don't know what to do. So my sister and I are in our mid-20s. Saturday, we noticed our parents were acting weird, and after pressing them, they very emotionally and dramatically revealed that my dad has a son that is 8 years older than me. He was 18 and the girl was 16 years old. They had broken up prior due to teenager reasons, and then she showed up. She said she was pregnant and didn't want my dad to be involved at all. He told my mom about the kid when they got together, but he wasn't really a factor in their lives other than child support payments that started up when the mom applied for government assistance. I even think that a DNA test was done then. Anyways, this guy who is my brother contacted my dad Friday and expressed a desire for a relationship. So that's what led to my parents telling my sister and I about this. I feel like if this didn't happen, we wouldn't have found out unless this guy showed up at my dad's funeral, whenever that would have happened later down the line. So this was only revealed to us out of necessity. I don't know how I feel or how I am feeling. Sunday when I found out, I straight up disassociated. I have a lot of mental health problems, and I guess my brain just couldn't handle it. Yesterday though, I just found myself getting angrier and angrier at my parents. They have lied, at least by omission, and they've done this my whole life. I have straight up asked and made jokes to my dad about him having other kids before, and he just blew it off and acted like nothing was wrong. I have made comments about how I wished I had a brother and how amazing that would be, and they just sat there knowing that I do have a brother somewhere out there in the world. I have made jokes about how my dad didn't have sons, so my sister is the boy he never had, and she did like stereotypical boy stuff growing up, and they just sat there with straight faces. I feel weirdly humiliated when I think about all the times that this happened, and my mom is really upset about the situation and won't explain why. I don't really get why she is upset. She knew about this child, and logically you would have to accept that him wanting a relationship as well as reaching out was bound to happen sooner or later. She hasn't explained her feelings or thought process, so I am trying not to judge her for being upset right now, but I just don't understand. And then there's my dad. I'm having a hard time with the fact that he has a grown-up son that he's never tried to have a relationship with. He tried to explain it as the mom asked him to not be involved, and he didn't want to rock the boat and cause problems, and then later on didn't want to cause problems for the family. He said he made the choices he thought were best for the most people. I'm trying to understand, but I honestly can't. I don't think any of this is right. Even if they thought keeping this a secret was the best choice, I think it was objectively wrong and detrimental to every child involved in this. I am upset, and I don't know what to do or say. I had a great relationship with my parents before this. We see each other constantly, we talk and lean on each other, we have fun together. I have a close family, and now I am just so blindingly angry, I don't know how to get past this. I want to, but I don't know how or if I can. I see my therapist tomorrow. I can't even start to think about potentially having a relationship with my brother, even if he wants to right now, because I am too emotional, and that's a scary concept too. I guess my questions are, how do I go on with my parents when I am so angry and feel like any trust between us is shattered? I don't even feel like being around them. How do I deal with my dad being a great dad to me and my sister and a non-parent to this other kid? How do I go about starting a relationship with my brother? Aside from all the lost years, he's in a different life stage than me, and he has a wife and kids. What should I do? I first want to say that I don't blame your dad for not saying anything. This was clearly a stage of his life that he didn't want to bring into your life. And you know what? The mom made it very clear. She did not want him involved in this process. She didn't want him to be a father. She didn't want him to be involved in his life at all. So I don't blame him for saying, all right, I'm just not going to rock the boat. I'll just let this go. Like, what do you think actually happened here? Do you think they kept this secret from you just to humiliate you? Or were they trying to protect their family in the best way that they could? This seemed like a really dumb mistake that he made as a teenager, and clearly he was paying for this all the way up until this guy turned 18. Like, he didn't do this just to try and humiliate you or hurt your feelings. So with that in mind, I don't think this is so black and white. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of gray area here. From the sounds of it, he was just trying to respect her wishes and thought that was the right thing to do at the time. I mean, he was only 18 years old when she got pregnant. It literally had nothing to do with you at all. You weren't even in the picture, neither was your mom. mom. And only then, when he's a little bit older and he gets with your mom and has a steady, healthy relationship, only then does he think, oh, maybe I should pop into his life. But how would that disrupt his life negatively? How will this affect his pregnant wife and his daughters? I mean, does this surprise brother still even want him around? Does the mom want him around? He probably thought about all of this and then some. So from my perspective and in my opinion, he probably kept this a secret just as that, a family secret. And he probably did that just to try and protect you as best as he could. Your father, from the sounds of it, tried to respect all parties involved. And while I can't understand why you would be upset about him keeping the secret, I think it's absolutely irrational to think that you know every secret that your parents keep from you. Like, there's probably a lot of sketchy things that go on that you have no idea about. Stuff that's going on in the peripherals that you completely miss and just don't know about. So I just wouldn't be so hard on your family. They were not trying to trick you, they were not trying to humiliate you, and they didn't do this simply because of you. This happened well before you were born, and in my opinion, I think you need to cut them a little bit of slack. But that's just my opinion. What's your opinion? If you were in this situation, how would you handle finding out that you have a half-brother? Leave a comment down below. We would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.